So let's start our today's lesson. Today I'm going to teach you about IELTS writing task one for general training module only, right? And in
Yes, sir.
our previous lesson in which we discussed about this time distribution, uh, let me give you a short recap. We already know that 20 minutes are generally recommended for task one, and 40 minutes are recommended for task two, right? And
Yes,
within those
exactly.
20 minutes, I generally, today I'll talk about task one only. So within these 20 minutes, uh, this is the further time distribution that I recommend. Uh, for writing
Mm.
task one, you need to spend about 2 minutes, 3 minutes on understanding the question. This is very important because today I'll show you how easily we can miss out a very important information if we don't understand the question properly. Okay,
Exactly.
then you need to plan, spend some 2 to 3 minutes on planning. Unlike task two, here we spend less time on planning, and then we spend about 13 to 14 minutes on writing. And I have already mentioned, and I have already described you the importance of proofreading at the end. Generally speaking, you can figure out at least 4 to 5 mistakes of your own yourself, and that means an increase of zero point 0.5 band at least, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now let's move forward and jump to our task two. Sorry, task one. Uh, Here are the details that we are going to cover today. First of all, we'll see how to understand the question. What are the important factors or points that we need to focus on? Then, based on this, we will try to understand the type of letter, and then accordingly what details we have to cover in that, and then we will
Mm.
cover this planning and organizing part. Okay,
Okay, sir.
I hope you have not attended this lesson earlier. I don't know.
नहीं 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 आई
Oh,
डिडंट मैं टास्क 2 से स्टार्ट किया था.
okay, fine. So IELTS writing task one has got three parts in it. The first part, it gives you or explains you the situation that is given to you, right? Can you read this, please?
Okay. You rent a 4-bedroom house which you share with 2 other students.
Mhm.
However, there are several problems with this house that need fixing. You also find it expensive and would like to find another student to share the spare bedroom.
Okay, so now this is the situation that is given to you. Remember one thing, don't
Mm.
ever assume anything from your own side except in one case. Okay, don't ever assume anything from your own side related to this situation part except one case or one in one situation. I'll tell you
Mm.
shortly what that situation is. Now, the second part of the task one tells you that what all things you have to include in the letter. Okay.
Mm.
Now, if you see, write a letter to a state agency. In the letter, explain your situation. Okay. And in this
Mm.
part, you are not going to assume anything from your own side. You will restrict your description of this situation to the given situation only. Okay.
Mm.
Then
Mm.
describe the problems with the house. Now you have to
Okay.
describe some problems that need fixing. Obviously, here it is written that there are several problems with this house that need fixing. But this situation doesn't tell you that what are those problems.
Mm.
But here in the question, they are asking you to describe the problems. So now this is an exceptional case where you can assume something from your own side,
Mm.
right?
Exactly.
Because they have asked you about something specific which is not given in the situation. So in this particular case, you can assume. But apart from
Mm.
that, you don't assume anything from your own side.
All right, sir.
Okay, so now say what, and today we'll do some practice exercises to cover all these points that I'm mentioning right now. Then next is say what you would like to happen. Okay,
Mm.
so this is a general statement about letters, such letters. say what you would like to happen means what do you actually want, why you are writing
Hmm.
this letter. Okay, now in this case, one more warning sign for Pakistani, Indian, and I guess Bangladeshi students as well. In our part of the world, state agents generally doesn't have a bigger role practically. They just come in between as a broker. Okay, they come in
Hmm.
between the landlord or the owner of the house and the tenant or the person who wants to hire a house. So he just make a deal and then get away. That's it.
Okay.
But in
Hmm.
general, in other countries, uh, their role is to actually act as a mediator throughout the duration of the contract.
Hmm.
If the person who has hired a house has some problems, he will contact this state agent, right?
Hmm.
So now this is a general you can say objection which is raised about IELTS, that sometimes
One.
it only focuses on cultures or the practices of our limited part of the world, sometimes they ask you a question which is not a very common thing in your culture.
Hmm.
In such cases, remember, don't resist, just adapt. Okay, just
Hmm.
accept this phenomena. Okay, right, I have to write a letter to a state agency. Don't start thinking, well, what a state agent has to do this with this. Okay,
Hmm.
something about pets. Petting is not yet very common in our country, right? So although it's getting a popularity nowadays, but still it doesn't have that much of
Hmm.
popularity yet. So
Oh.
if they ask you something about pets, so deal it keeping in mind the cultural trends of any English speaking country. Okay, right.
All right,
So
sir.
next third part is it tells you that how you have to begin your letter. In this, if you see, begin your
Hmm.
letter as follows. You don't have to write your address. You have to directly start with Dear Sir or Madam. In this particular
True.
case, they have told you that start it with Dear Sir or Madam. Now, this part has got some
Hmm.
implications. Okay. So, first of all, let's discuss those
Hmm.
implications. But do you have any idea about the types of letters, like formal, informal, semi formal?
Yeah, here it's like, dear sir or madam, it means it's a formal letter.
It's a formal letter, right? So, but still, I'll touch upon these points again, even if
Sure,
you
sir.
know it, just to make sure that you are not missing out any information, right? Formal letter are those which are written in a formal capacity. For example, you
Hmm.
are an account holder of a bank, so and you are
Hmm.
writing a letter about your account. You want to get some information about your account maybe, and in that case you will write the letter in a formal way. Similarly,
Hmm.
applying for a job is a formal letter. Okay, and there are a number of examples in which
Hmm.
you have to write these formal letters. So now for formal letters, the whole tone of the letter would be formal. Each and every
Hmm.
word used in that would be formal. Clear?
Clear, sir.
Now, there are some look at three main you can say parts of the letter which require some special attention according to the type of letter. Like one is greeting. This is the start or
Hmm.
beginning of the letter, right? And then other thing
Hmm.
is ending. For formal
Yes, sir.
letters, our ending is defined by the greeting. Okay,
Hmm.
if you are starting your letter with dear sir or madam, you are going to end with it with yours faithfully. Clear?
Hmm.
So in this case,
Hmm.
again, there are two warning signs I have observed from students, not using capital S or capital M here. So that is a wrong thing. You have
Hmm.
to use capital S and capital M here,
Hmm.
and this should end with a comma at the end, right? And similarly
Hmm.
here, some people write or put an apostrophe here like yours. Don't use that.
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
faithfully, F is not capital, remember. Okay, so these
Okay.
are two, yeah, these are general, mistakes that students make. After that, in case sometimes we know the name of our the person to whom we are writing a formal
Hmm.
letter. For example, we might be
Hmm.
knowing the name of the bank manager to whom we are writing, or we have just received
Hmm.
a letter from bank manager in which he has written his name, and now we want to answer back that letter. In that case, we'll be knowing his name,
Hmm.
obviously, or her name, right? So
True.
here we will start our letter like dear Mr. Frank. Now here Mr. is a title. You must
All
include
right.
this title,
Hmm.
because if you just write dear Frank, it may become a semi-formal or sometimes even give an impression of an informal letter. So for formal
Hmm.
letter,
Hmm.
if we know the name, we write Mr., Miss, or Mrs. if you are sure about that. And if you are confused or you're not sure that whether to use Miss or Mrs., in that case you can write like this, MS Miss, right?
Hmm.
Clear? So for IELTS purposes, generally they just give you dear sir or madam, but still,
Hmm.
if they write a name, dear Mr. Frank, then it means they want you to treat this letter as formal letter.
Hmm.
And in that case, your ending would be yours sincerely.
Okay, so if we know the name.
Name, yeah. If you know the name and you write the name here, then your ending would be yours sincerely. But if you don't know the
Okay.
name and you're writing dear sir or madam, in that case, your ending would be yours faithfully. Clear?
True. Okay.
Okay.
Clear, sir.
So now, then closing statement would be I look forward to hearing from you soon. Now, many people ask me why this ing has been used here with to, because generally we don't use ing with to, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
I
true.
look forward to hearing from you soon. Generally think why not to write I look forward to hear from you soon. Well, this
Hmm.
rule using ing with to uh, is a little bit complex, and it
Hmm.
requires a lot of basic English knowledge. So
Hmm.
just to avoid any confusions, I just recommend you to please memorize this last sentence. Okay,
Okay, sir.
and in only in letters you may use ing with this to only for this particular sentence and not
Okay,
anywhere
sir.
else.
Okay.
Actually, the rule is that we may use ing with those verbs with which, if we add ing, they become a noun. For example,
Okay.
swimming.
Okay.
Now, swimming can be a verb, and swimming is a noun as well. I like swimming.
Hmm.
You got it?
Yes, exactly.
Similarly, let's
Exactly.
go to shopping. Now, you see, let's go shopping as well. So now, shop
Hmm.
and shopping, and then shopping is a noun as well, right?
True.
But
Exactly, sir.
but even then, we just can't use ing with all such nouns or all such verbs. There's an authentication required from a native speaker actually. So that's why I
Exactly.
say, and that's why I say it's a little bit complex. So just forget about all these rules, and for letter
Hmm.
closing statement, for this particular closing statement, you can just memorize it. Okay.
Hmm. Oh, okay, sir.
And else everywhere in task 1 and task 2, don't use ing with to. Okay,
ठीक है
unless you have a command on that.
Okay.
Right, the other extreme of formal letter is informal letters. Here the
Hmm.
you know your tone would be casual, like dear mom or hi mom, hi Frank. You see, this is kind of an informal letter. And here
Hmm.
your ending would be yours, lots of love or something, and the closing statement would be, well, that's all for now, or write back soon, or I just can't wait seeing you. okay, and so on.
Hmm. Okay.
Now, there's something in between formal and informal, and that is known as semi-formal. Let me give
Hmm.
you two situations, for example, to explain this semi-formal context. For example, I'm currently a student, and I have got a research supervisor,
Hmm.
and I have to talk to him on maybe every alternate day or every third day or every week. So while talking to him, I may not be very formal, but at the
Hmm.
same time, I cannot be disrespectful to him.
Hmm.
Right? So in that case, I will maintain a tone of semi-formal.
True.
Similarly, let's say there's a colleague, your colleague in office, and let's say you go on leave, 1 month leave or 2 weeks leave, to have fun somewhere, and now your colleague is actually looking after your desk,
Hmm.
okay, and and your boss tells him or her that, well, call Rida and write a letter or email to Rida and ask her where those documents are placed,
Hmm.
because we are having a meeting tomorrow with the customer, and Rida was previously dealing with it.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so in that particular case, uh, your colleague may write you a letter, and
Hmm.
that letter contains the elements of both formal and informal thing.
Hmm. So it would be
Like he
something.
or
True.
she would write a letter like, I hope you are enjoying your leaves, and so on, so,
Hmm.
and then he or she will write that official part in which he or she will ask about that information. And then
Hmm.
at the end, he would or she would say that, okay, please have a lot of fun, and we would love to see you back soon or something. Okay,
Hmm.
so that is dear Frank. Again, here there's no title, you see.
Hmm.
Now, once
Exactly.
again, thank you for prompt reply. This kind of closing statement works here. Then best wishes, best regards are fine, okay here. Okay.
Hmm.
Right. So I've just moved to this very quickly because you already had some knowledge out of it.
Hmm.
So I just wanted to make sure that we don't miss out any information. Now, if you see the previous question, here they ask you to write dear sir or madam in the beginning.
Hmm.
That means they
Hmm.
want you to treat this letter as a formal letter.
Hmm.
Sometimes they just leave it to you and they just say that, okay, start your letter with dear. I'm sorry, this is dear, although my dear is just, okay. And they just write, write it like that.
Hmm.
So here they have left everything onto you. Now you have to
Hmm.
decide based on this situation that whether
Hmm.
it is a formal, semi-formal, or informal letter.
All right.
Okay. So now let's move forward and let's start to our planning business now, because we have seen the question, we have determined the type of letter. Okay, and now we are
Hmm.
going to see what details we have to cover, and then accordingly we are going to plan and organize. Let's say here's a plan. Although we don't make that kind of formal plan, like making a table there, we don't have that much time. But just to make you understand different parts of the letter, this plan has been made in a tabular form. Okay,
Hmm.
so it always starts with a greeting and ends. There's an end of letter. Before the end of letter, there is a closing statement which
Hmm.
indicates that you are going to end a letter. This
Hmm.
indicate or this signals that now you are going to end the letter. Clear?
Clear, sir.
Like we said that, shall you have any queries, please don't hesitate to contact me. In case of informal letters, well, that's all for now, and so on.
Hmm.
Now, these three parts, the remaining three parts, 3, 4, and 5, if you see, these are exactly these bullet points that they have asked us to cover or include in our
Hmm.
letter. You see,
Hmm.
these 3 points. Now, for number 2, This thing is important for formal letters specifically,
Hmm.
because in a formal letter, most of the times, the other person who is receiving your letter, the addressee of your letter, he or she may not be knowing you exactly. Who are you?
Exactly.
So
बिल्कुल.
for that, you first need to introduce yourself in the first sentence.
Hmm.
But remember, introducing doesn't mean here that I'm Rida, masters of so and so. You don't have to write like that. Okay, you just tell that in which capacity you are writing.
Hmm.
Taking the example of same like bank manager thing, here you would start that I am an account holder at your bank or branch, and then you will move
Hmm.
forward. So that the
Okay.
person, the bank manager who is receiving your letter, should be clear right from the beginning that who are you? What do you want from me?
Hmm.
Why should I read your letter?
Hmm.
Okay,
True.
so first of all, introduce yourself and then tell the purpose of writing, why you are writing.
Hmm.
Okay, and in that you can say, well, I'm an account holder of your branch or your bank, and I want to know about something about my account. I want to get some information. I want to express my dissatisfaction over your services or something.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Hmm.
opening
Got
statement,
it.
introduce yourself, and in introduction, you don't have to tell your name actually. In fact, this
Hmm.
is that means that you have to tell in which capacity you are writing. Let's say,
Hmm.
let's take an example of a person, uh, like let's say you are a manager at your organization, and you deal with the customers, okay? And every third or fourth uh, day, you meet a new customer and you call them over lunch in a particular restaurant for a
Hmm.
business meeting, right? But
Right,
let's
sir.
say last time when you went there, you although you reserved your seat on telephone, but you didn't get those seats reserved. So
All
practically,
right,
once you
right, sir.
went there, a mess was created. The food was not good, maybe, or the services were not good. So now, this is the situation that I've given you, and IELTS people, they want you to write that
Hmm.
manager of the restaurant a letter and complain about these services.
Hmm.
So in this particular case, first you will introduce yourself like I'm a regular customer of your restaurant, and I hold my business meetings on in your restaurant every week or maybe every third day.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm writing you to express my something like complaint, dissatisfaction over the services I received last time during my last visit there.
Hmm.
Okay, so now let's say this is a plan, okay, and some candidate XYZ has made some points or has some made a plan to write these points in his or her letter.
Hmm.
Okay, now let's say here are A, B, C, D, and E and F points. Now, some of these points are irrelevant.
Hmm.
Okay, they doesn't relate to this situation. So you have to identify those points, number one. Number two, you will read all of these points one by one and tell me first that is it relevant or not. And secondly, you will tell me that which part of our plan this point should fit into.
Hmm.
Okay. Now read the first part, first sentence here.
Okay, the upstairs shower seems to be leaking into the kitchen below, and this is dangerous.
Right. So what is this?
So, I guess the upstairs shower seems to be leaking into the kitchen. So, I think this is the problem with the
This is a
house.
problem with the house, and you see here we have to assume it at our own. Why? Because they have asked us to assume.
Describe
Yeah,
the
describe the
problem.
problem with the house, but they have not mentioned any problems specifically here in the situation.
Hmm.
Clear? Okay.
Then there is, we would be grateful if you could get the problems fixed as soon as possible. So
Hmm.
I think this is the closing statement.
Actually, closing statement is signaling that you are going to end the letter.
Uh-huh.
But this is not a signal. This is actually a
So mean that's like
demand. What
what
you
would
would
you
like to
like to
have.
happen?
Exactly. This is what you would like to have. Okay, then
Okay, we
next.
are also we are also worried as there is no front gate which makes the house less secure. So I think this is like uh, explaining
No,
our
this is again a
situation.
problem. This is again another
Okay,
problem. Upstairs shower is leaking into kitchen, which is
okay,
dangerous. And we also, front gate is missing there, so which is, dangerous in terms of
mm,
security.
okay. We
So
have exam soon, and my
now,
computer
wait,
is
wait, sorry,
broken.
sorry,
I
sorry.
don't.
Let me explain one more point. Now, they have specifically mentioned describe the problems. Be aware of this S here.
Mm,
That means you should
problems mean
include
what
at
are the
least two
problems?
problems then.
Mm,
You just can't write one problem, okay?
mm,
Now, please move forward.
okay.
Yeah, next.
So D, we have exams soon, and my computer is broken. Uh, I don't think so. It is relevant to
Yeah, this
this.
is not relevant. This is irrelevant. Good. Okay. E.
Okay, I look forward to hearing from you very soon. Okay, it could be. This is the closing statement
This is the
actually.
closing statement, which is signaling end of the letter. And again,
Mm.
observe to hearing. Okay. Now,
Mhm. My friend and I rent one of your properties, and I'm writing to inform you of some of problems that this is basically like opening statement, I guess.
opening statement in which he or this person has introduced him or herself
Introducing himself
and
and
told
my
the purpose of the
purpose.
writing. Very right.
Okay.
Okay, now.
So you know what I
Mhm,
have done in my letter wrong. We are the statement B statement.
uh-huh.
Basically, I treated it this statement as my closing statement, and in the introduction part, I have given my whole kacha chitta. Actually,
Okay.
I've written that in
Yeah,
the start with and I'm from there and whatever.
I see. I see. So you see, this makes things very easy. There are some other points as well that you need
Yeah.
to notice on now. Okay, so what do you think? How many parts we have covered? Okay, greeting is already written there, dear sir or madam. That's done, right?
Yes, sir.
What do you think? Are we done with two?
Yeah, we have done with that.
Okay, number three.
I don't think so. We
No,
have
we
touched
haven't
this
covered
part.
it yet. Okay,
Yeah.
then number four.
Yes, we are done with it.
You also have to see that have we covered complete all the aspects of it or not. Okay,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
keeping in mind view this S here, we have written at least two problems. Okay, so you are
Hmm.
okay with it. Then number
Hmm.
five,
Yes, sir.
you are done with it. Okay, number six.
Well, yes, we're
Okay,
done with
done.
it, but
And what about
not the end of the letter. No, I don't
no,
think
no, no.
so.
Okay,
No,
what it
exactly, we
should be?
haven't done.
What it should be?
So it should be like your we don't know the name of the person. Okay, so it should be
Yours
written
faithfully.
this thing yours faithfully.
Okay,
Exactly.
good, good.
But
So now we are left with, as you are saying, we are left with number two.
number
No,
three.
sorry, number three. Sorry, number three. Explain the situation. Now let's have a look on that. Okay. Now let's say someone has given this explanation of the situation. We rent a four-bedroom house. However, there are several problems with the house that need fixing, and we also find it expensive. Now, this
Hmm.
situation has a problem. And what is that problem? This person has copied almost every sentence from the question. We rent a
Hmm.
four-bedroom house. So rent a four-bedroom house. There are several problems with the house. See, there are several problems
Hmm.
with this house that need
Hmm.
fixing, that need fixing, right?
Hmm.
Find it expensive, find it expensive.
Hmm.
So this kind
Hmm.
of introduction or this kind of description of the situation will actually result in a lower mark.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Repetition.
because you need to, I told you this thing in our task 2 lesson as well, that you need to actually paraphrase the given
Hmm.
situation, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so now let's have a look. someone has tried to improve this thing, and unfortunately, there are some points which are missing here, and I want you to think of some appropriate words that will, complete this sentence. So the house we are dash four bedrooms and there are three of us sharing it. Now this is a paraphrase version of you rent a four
Hmm.
bedroom house which you share with two other students. You see?
Hmm.
But obviously here we are going to explain the situation. So now
Hmm.
how to explain it? The house we are dash four bedrooms and there are three of us sharing it. So what it should be?
Hmm. The house we are living. The house we are actually
Let's say we
uh,
are living in, maybe,
uh,
or
living
it
in.
has four bedrooms, or the house
E-
we are renting in has four
o-
bedrooms. Correct?
okay,
Right.
correct, sir. Our rent was
Okay. Now,
recently.
next sentence. Our rent was.
Our,
Mhm.
our rent was recently increased, and as we are all students, it is a little difficult for us to manage.
Okay. Now you are. You see, this is a very good example of selecting the precise word which convey the precise meaning. Right? It
Yes,
is
sir.
very difficult for us to manage, right? That serve the purpose, but it is not a very good word actually.
Good word, actually.
Yeah. So I will tell you a word, but before that I want you to think over it. Any other guess?
Um, so we can, for difficult for us to. Actually, मुझे इससे भी awkward words आ रहे हैं mind में.
Okay,
To
so what
cope.
about afford?
Okay, हाँ. Okay, because they said it is expensive as well, so we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
use
You
the
see,
word afford.
afford
Okay.
is the most appropriate word in this particular situation, right?
Okay.
Now, it is
Afford.
very
Okay,
nice
got it.
house that suits us perfectly, but at the moment some dash are needed.
Okay. But at the moment, some uh, fixing amendments. No,
Okay, now,
amendments. It's not a document.
yeah, exactly. So many people they say some amendments are needed, and then they say some alterations are needed, then say some
Huh.
renovations are needed, and what
Repair.
else? Oh, bravo, bravo, bravo. Yeah, some repairs are needed. Well done. You're the first
Okay.
person who has actually given me the correct word.
Alright.
Yeah. Okay. So that need fixing. That means some repairs are needed, right?
Okay. Alright, sir.
So, but you this example must have given you an idea that if you want, choose the precise word, okay,
Hmm.
which is best suited for a situation, you are going
Hmm.
to lose marks.
Exactly.
Now, if you remember, there was a there were four criteria that we discussed. The first one was task achievement.
Yes, sir. Task
Okay.
achievement.
In that there
Then
was
there was
something, yeah,
coherence and
coherence and
cohesion,
cohesion,
and
yeah.
then
Then
there was
lexical resource.
grammatical,
A
okay,
lexical
lexical
resource,
resource
and this in
and
this
grammatical.
lexical resource, there was a point that you choose the appropriate word which conveys the precise meaning.
Exactly, sir.
Okay. Then there was grammatical range and accuracy, right? And then we have already seen within task achievement, there were three sub criteria, and one was 150 words. The next was
Yes.
what?
Relevant
Relevancy. Yeah. So we
information.
have seen an example of an irrelevant point on the previous, previous slide
Yes,
or
sir.
previous exercise. Okay. Now, do you think this person has not assumed anything from his or her own side while describing the situation?
Exactly, sir.
Can you see? Is there any point that he or she has assumed from her or his own side?
No, sir. I don't think so
I
because
sure.
उससे सारी चीजें like the house we're
No.
living in.
Hmm.
We rent a four-bedroom house, which is shared with two other students.
Hmm.
There are three. There are three of sharing a set.
Okay, that means of us means two, and the person who is writing a letter is one and two others. So three, that makes us that makes a total of three people, right? Where is it written?
Oh,
Our rent was recently increased.
recently increased. No, no, nowhere.
It is not written
It's
anywhere. So this is an
uh,
assumption. You don't have to write it. Similarly, it's a very nice house that suits us perfectly.
mm,
Again, this is an assumption.
like no, assumption.
So, it is very easy to get carried away while writing.
Mm,
When some ideas come into your mind, you just start writing without
that.
thinking that if it
Mm,
is given here or not. Be careful, don't assume
exactly.
anything specifically about the
Mm,
situation unless you are asked about something which is very specific and that thing is not mentioned in the situation. Like we saw this thing
mm,
here, describe the problems with the house,
mm,
right?
mm.
Okay,
Okay.
next point, we are almost done, but now I want you to tell me, have we covered all of these points in appropriate detail?
Yes, we have
Okay,
covered these points.
okay, number two covered. I'm
Yes,
telling you,
sir.
there's something missing yet.
Okay.
And if you
Get rid of.
remember the task achievement criterion, in that there was one point 150 words, other one was relevance,
Yes, sir.
and third one was covering all the aspects of the given task in
Uh,
appropriate detail, right?
exactly, sir.
Okay, so seems something is missing. Explain the
Which
situation.
one was it?
Has this been discussed in appropriate detail?
I don't think so. We have discussed it yet. पता नहीं मुझे समझ नहीं आ रही.
No, we have
Of
just
how we
covered this.
living in the
Explain the
sharing of
situation. What is our
us.
situation? We have just covered it.
Recently. Stress and the problems with the
Okay,
house.
there's
So
something
we would
missing
like
here.
to.
So there's something missing
Sir,
here in number five.
we haven't covered the fifth section.
Yeah, and what is that?
Yes, we didn't. मतलब हमने कोई चीज बताई नहीं अभी तक सर को फिक्स करने के
No,
लिए क्या करना
no, we have written
कि हम
that.
क्या चाह रहे हैं क्या क्या फिक्स
No,
करना चाह रहे हैं और
we have
प्रॉब्लम्स का
covered
क्या
it.
सोल्यूशन.
No, no, that is not. Although the point is right that there's something missing in number five. But if you see here, there was a sentence that we would be grateful if you could get the problems fixed as soon as possible. Right?
Hmm.
It is there. But
Yeah.
still, there's some point missing in this part, in this number five.
The-
You see, what happens that they asked us to explain the
hmm.
situation and we explained the situation, correct? Then they told us to describe the problems with the house and we described the problems with the house. And then they asked us, say what you would like to happen.
Hmm.
Because previously our focus
Hmm.
was describing the problems with the house, we only covered this point in say what you would like to happen. And we
Hmm.
missed another very important point. And what was that? Please read this sentence.
You also find it expensive and would like to find another student to share this spare bedroom.
Have you mentioned it anywhere in the letter?
No.
No. So actually, you want his permission to bring another student with you to share that extra bedroom, maybe, and share the rent.
Hmm. Exactly.
Okay,
Basic.
so and
हाँ ये
that
तो
is
लेटर का हाफ पार्ट एक्सप्लेन करता है
exactly,
सर
exactly. You
जस्ट
see,
पॉइंट एक था.
you would have missed it, right? So that is actually a
Yes.
problem that, when people come out of the examination room, they just say that, well, I've done very well. But once they get the marks and
Hmm.
they get the result, they are really shocked that what has gone wrong
Yes.
here. Okay, so please be vigilant about such points. They really affect your grade. Okay. Now let's have a look on this
Hmm.
sentence. here, you have got three options to cover this point that I've just mentioned. You also find it expensive and would
Hmm.
like to find others. Please choose the best option among this A, B, and C on the top.
Okay. I would like to ask question. Well, okay, we would like. So basically, just so basically, आप कौन सा कह रहे हैं कि किस statement के लिए मुझे इसमें से choose करना है?
We have missed one point. You also find it
Hmm.
expensive and would like to, find another student, blah blah. So we have to write one more sentence to address this point, right?
Okay. So I think B is like.
B is the most appropriate because A is just an invitation, maybe for one night or maybe one day.
हाँ,
Okay, so B is the
हाँ,
most appropriate. Finally, we would like to ask if it is possible to invite a friend of ours to share the rent and occupy the spare bedroom. Yeah? So with this, our letter is now complete, and we can, just write it. Okay. Now,
yes,
there
sir.
are a few important points that I want you to think of again.
Hmm.
Number one, don't assume anything from your own side unless you are um, asked to do so.
Hmm.
Number two, don't miss out any point. Try to cover
Hmm.
all the aspects of the letter from in appropriate detail.
Hmm.
Then be careful about this format of the letter. Okay.
Hmm.
Right. Having said that, now from my side, that was all about the overview of this task, except one thing. And
Hmm.
one thing, let
Hmm.
me show you here. Hmm. Here I would be sharing a file with you. Okay. And let me find this file. Just a minute. Let me pause this recording. Okay. Here's the file that I want you to see. There are 14 pages in this file. Okay. And in these 14 pages, uh, on the first page, they have told you the difference between formal and informal letters, and for formal letters and informal letters, how to take a start and what should be the ending, right?
Yes, sir.
So I have covered this point in detail, so you don't have to read this page at all.
All right, sir.
Okay. But for remaining pages, let me show you some points. I'm just reducing the. Oh, this is too short, I guess. Okay. If
No,
you
no
see
problem.
here, there are different types of letters, like letters of a or letters of complaint,
Hmm.
then letters of apology,
Yes, sir.
then letters of invitation, and so on.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so until I guess up till page number 12, there are different types of letter which are given here. In these pages, what you have to do, I'll tell you shortly, but before that, I want to move to end of this file. Now here from page number 12, there are a number of ways, and there are a number of lexical resources which are given
Hmm.
that you can use to link your words or link different
Hmm.
phrases and ideas. Like when you have to
Hmm.
give a personal opinion, what words you can use, in my opinion, in my view, to my mind, and blah blah. Then to list advantages, how you
Yes.
can list different advantages and disadvantages. To list points, here are some ways of doing that. Okay, and so on. So for these three pages, you can just go through with these, and you may copy some extraordinary that you find are really good ways, or good phrases that you can use in your writing task 1 and task 2 you can note down them separately on a page.
Hmm.
Okay, because there would be many points that you must be knowing already, so there's no fun of reading this file again and again and wasting your time. Only
Hmm.
copy those points which you seem are new to you, and you may use them to get a good band score.
Yes, sir.
Clear?
Sure, sir.
Okay. Similarly, if for all these pages that I have mentioned earlier for different types of letters, in that you don't need to, read through, or you don't need to read these pages again and again.
Hmm.
I'll just increase the this. Let me zoom in. Okay, now here you don't need to even read this thing, that for a letter of complaint, what should be introduction, what should be the main body, conclusion. You just forget about it, because I have
Hmm.
already covered or given you a format of that. That first of
Yes,
all you
sir.
introduce yourself, okay, in case of formal letters, and then what you have to include. In IELTS they give you bullet points to include, so you already know what you have to include,
Yes, sir.
so you don't need to spend time on this. But I want you to have a look on these things. uh, this part, useful language for letters of complaint.
Hmm.
For this, just see the opening remarks. Like, I'm writing to complain about something, I'm writing to draw your attention to. What do you think? Which one is the smarter way of saying it? First one or second one?
I can complain about. It's some. I think I'm writing to draw your attention.
Yeah, that's better. That's smarter, right? Similarly, I'm writing
Yes.
in connection with, or I'm writing to express my strong dissatisfaction with. Again, this is a better way of saying it, right?
Hmm.
Got it?
Yes, sir. I got it.
Okay, so what you do, you just keep reading these sentences or these phrases and start copying it on your notebook.
Hmm.
Don't write all of these sentences, just pick the best one,
Exactly.
so that you don't need to read that this whole file again and again. Instead,
Hmm.
you may have a 2 pages table maybe on your, let's say this is your notebook. Okay, this is one
Hmm.
page and this is other page. Here you make a big table like that, and
Hmm.
here you can just say, let's say, okay, you can divide it like this: opening remarks, ending remarks, greetings, ending, whatever you want to include. And here you just write the type of the letter, like letter of complaint, letter of
Hmm.
apology, and you can
Hmm.
write some 1 or 2 sentences for each of these.
Yes, sir.
So this table will
Great.
actually help you to get the best sentences and not wasting your time again and again on reading these 14 pages.
Exactly, sir.
Okay. Here again, if you see, like closing remarks, I would like to hear your explanation for the above problems. Now, this is too harsh actually. But if
Hmm.
if the exam asks to do this, you should at least go through these points once. Like if you see, you could give
Hmm.
me a full refund. You see, let's say, because
Hmm.
in last 2 tests consecutively they gave a letter in which in one of the letters they asked that you have recently purchased a new model of mobile phone, but you didn't find
Hmm.
it good as promised in the advertisement, good enough as promised in the advertisement, and so on. So now what, you write a letter to the company or
Hmm.
whatever, and in that there was a point you tell that what you would like to happen now.
Hmm.
So now in that particular case, you see, this sentence may help you, that I
Hmm.
want, either
Exactly.
you can say that either replace it with the better one,
Hmm.
or I need a full refund.
Hmm.
So if you have gone through these points, any of these points may click into your mind on the exam day, hopefully. Right?
Allah.
Yeah,
Sure.
hopefully. Hope for the best now. But again, if you see, I'm not satisfied with I hope, assume you will replace that person. I trust the situation will improve. I hope the matter will be resolved. I hope we can sort this matter out amicably. Now, this amicably
Mm,
word is a good word. So you can say, I hope the matter will be resolved amicably, maybe. Or you can write on your table that I hope we can sort this matter out amicably. Now, this is a good
mm,
sentence that you may write and you may keep it safe with you for the exam day.
oh,
Clear?
that's it.
So, this way,
Okay.
you will have only one or two sentences, or maybe 3 to 4 sentences for opening remarks, for linking words, for closing remarks, for all types of letters.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I hope that will serve the purpose. So that's all for now. Let's call it a day. And if you have any queries, you may ask. Please feel free to ask the questions.